This lesson is best experienced with SoundSlice. Join up to my Patreon for free to check it out. Links are in the description. What's up, everybody? We are back for some black metal. So this one's going to be in the atmospheric black metal type of thing, and we are working exclusively with the aeolian scale. So as far as the sounds that I'm using, there's two, using the same guitar this time. I didn't switch that up for the right guitar. So it's just the Epiphone SG Pro 400 or whatever. I'm using the NAMM plugin, which is free, but the actual sound captures that I'm using with it, they're not free. They're from Loudstakk. So I will put the link and the description of those underneath the video so you can check those out. As far as the starting point, we're really starting and beginning in the same position. So that makes it nice and simple. We are in the second position, and as mentioned previously, I am using the aeolian scale. So if we were to look at basically all the fretted notes that we're using, and we started from the lower E as our root tone and play it upward through to, say, the B note on the third string, this is what we would get. Now what I'm doing with this is I am letting the notes ring into one another and effectively kind of droning them in a way, but they're all kind of chaotically switching around reasonably frequently. So the first step will be to fret up like a E power chord. And we're then going to use the G and the F sharp note with the beginning of the riff. And I just remember there is an extra note in there. So if we listen carefully to that again, we've got an octave E note on the fourth string, fret 2. We're then going to do a kind of a sus2 type of thing, because we've got an A note and a B note here and the octave E, although in this case it's not really the octave, but the higher E note from the low E. So if we look at it as just as a chord, I'm presuming it's going to be like an A minor sus2, but the name of the chord will be in the SoundSlice and the transcription. So the suspended chords just give it a bit of air, and they're not quite optimistic, they're not quite dark, they're sort of somewhere in between. They've got that kind of middle ground to them. But they can sound bright and happy, a la Van Halen. Sometimes they can sound dark, a la Killing Joke. So there's different uses for them. So if we put all of that together so far, this is what we would end up with. As for the second time through, it's a little bit more complicated. I'll play the idea all the way through first at the slower tempo and keep an ear out for that second half coming in. Initially, nothing really that interesting or even difficult. we're just going to use the B and the A note on the third string. But where it gets interesting then is that we're going to descend with all our notes from the scale and kind of, not quite drone them, but we're going to have those as kind of the root note along with a higher note, and we're going to pick between those. So they're not even really a pedal point, but effectively they just create this nice noisy, atmospheric and, reasonably dark kind of vibe. So let's have a look at that. We'll call that the last quarter. So there's essentially 3 quarters. This is the last quarter. So they're starting off the same. But from that point, we'll just play through the notes that we're going to use. We'll call those the root notes. We're going to have D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, back to G and A. If we put that together then with the higher note, we'll have a D and an E, and I think the E basically stays with it until we get to the 6th string. So we'll have D and E, C and E, B and E. Then we're going to have A and B, G and B, F sharp on the open A string, back to G and B, A and B, and then we'll end on the low E power chord. Let's do that slowly. Let's have another playthrough of everything at that slower tempo, and then we'll look briefly at the last part, which is reasonably straightforward. So the last part, there is still 2 guitar parts, mostly the same thing, starting with an open E power chord, then adding in the B note for a stacked shape, stacking it a bit more after that with another E note, and then if you want, you can include the open E string. So you could do something like this. The other guitar part halfway through will go up to the 7th position E power chord and then proceed to play an E minor voicing. So I played the E power chord, then put the middle finger down 8th fret 2nd string for the E minor, then you might include the open E again, and then maybe go back to just down to the 2nd string. And that wraps things up. So enjoy it, have fun, practice with the backing tracks and sound slice, and I'll see you again at a later date for another lesson. Until then, bye for now.